Sung Jin-Woo was known as the weakest hunter in all of South Korea, a title that brought him endless humiliation and pity instead of respect. Every hunter who entered dangerous dungeons possessed supernatural abilities that allowed them to battle terrifying monsters. But Jin-Woo had almost no strength, speed, or magical power. Even low-ranked goblins and wolves could leave him covered in injuries after every mission. Despite his weakness, he never stopped accepting dangerous jobs because he desperately needed money to support his sick mother, who remained trapped in the mysterious eternal slumber disease, and to pay for his younger sister's education. Every dungeon raid felt like gambling with his own life, but giving up was never an option. His determination earned admiration from a few companions, yet most hunters considered him nothing more than dead weight. One ordinary day, Jin-Woo joined a routine expedition inside a low-level D-rank dungeon alongside several experienced hunters. Everything seemed normal until they discovered a hidden passage leading toward a mysterious chamber that had never appeared on official maps. Curiosity pushed the group forward, believing greater treasure awaited them inside. As the massive stone doors slowly opened, they stepped into an enormous temple filled with giant statues whose cold expressions created an overwhelming sense of fear. Ancient stone warriors lined both sides of the hall, while an enormous, smiling statue sat upon a throne at the far end, silently watching every movement. A warning carved into stone listed strange commandments that nobody fully understood, but before anyone could react, the doors slammed shut behind them. Suddenly, the giant statue opened its glowing eyes, and horrifying beams of light instantly killed several hunters where they stood. Panic spread through the room as the statues awakened and began slaughtering everyone without mercy. Experienced fighters who had survived countless dungeons were crushed within seconds by impossible enemies. Jin-Woo realized that blindly fighting would only guarantee death, so he desperately searched for the meaning behind the mysterious commandments. Through careful observation, he understood that obeying the strange rules was the only path to survival. He shouted instructions while risking his own life to save everyone else, repeatedly placing himself in the most dangerous positions. Although many escaped because of his courage, the temple demanded a sacrifice before allowing anyone to leave. Refusing to abandon his companions, Jin-Woo remained behind as the enormous stone statues surrounded him from every direction. Broken bones, deep wounds, and unbearable pain consumed his body while he accepted what seemed to be his final moments. As darkness slowly covered his vision, he believed his life had finally ended inside the cursed temple. However, instead of death, a mysterious blue screen suddenly appeared before his fading eyes. It asked a single unbelievable question that would completely transform his destiny forever. Will you accept becoming a player? Without understanding its true meaning, Sung Jin-Woo chose to accept, unknowingly taking the very first step toward becoming the strongest hunter the world would ever witness. When Sung Jin-Woo opened his eyes again, he was no longer lying inside the terrifying temple, but resting in a hospital bed surrounded by confused doctors and nurses. They could not understand how a hunter who had suffered such catastrophic injuries had survived without permanent damage. To everyone else, his recovery appeared to be a miracle, but Jin-Woo quickly realized something extraordinary had happened. Floating before his eyes was a glowing blue interface that nobody else could see. It displayed messages, quests, statistics, and notifications exactly like a role-playing game. At first, he believed he was hallucinating because of the trauma, yet the messages continued to appear with perfect clarity. The mysterious system informed him that he had officially become a player and that his survival depended on completing daily quests. Ignoring the first quest resulted in an immediate punishment. Thinking the warning was meaningless, Jin-Woo delayed the exercises until the deadline expired. Suddenly, he was transported into a horrifying punishment zone filled with giant centipedes and monstrous creatures that relentlessly hunted him for several terrifying hours. Forced to run endlessly just to stay alive, he barely escaped with his life before returning to the real world. That painful experience convinced him that the system was completely real and that every command had to be followed without exception. From that day forward, Jin-Woo faithfully completed every daily mission, including hundreds of push-ups, sit-ups, squats, and long-distance runs. Although the training was exhausting, he noticed remarkable changes. His body became stronger, faster, and healthier every single day. Unlike ordinary hunters, whose powers remained fixed after awakening, Jin-Woo possessed the unique ability to increase his level through continuous effort. Every completed quest rewarded him with experience points, valuable items, and precious stat points that he could distribute to improve his strength, agility, intelligence, vitality, and perception. Soon, the hunter once mocked as the weakest in Korea began defeating monsters that had previously pushed him to the brink of death. His confidence grew alongside his power, yet he carefully concealed his rapid progress from everyone around him. During another dungeon raid, Jin-Woo discovered a hidden instant dungeon key inside his inventory. Curious but cautious, he entered the mysterious area alone and found himself facing dangerous magical beasts far stronger than anything he had fought before. Each battle tested his growing abilities, forcing him to think strategically instead of relying solely on brute force. After an intense struggle, he encountered a massive steel-fanged wolf whose speed and power exceeded his expectations. Refusing to retreat, Jin-Woo used everything he had learned from the system, dodging deadly attacks with perfect timing before delivering the finishing blow. As the monster collapsed, the system rewarded him with even greater experience and rare equipment, proving that every impossible challenge could make him stronger. Standing victorious over the defeated beast, Sung Jin-Woo finally realized that his life had completely changed. The frightened E-rank hunter who had once depended on others for survival was slowly disappearing, replaced by a fearless warrior whose limitless growth had only just begun. Every battle from that moment onward would bring him one step closer to a destiny capable of shaking the entire world.